Hello folks, welcome to another video. I'm out a bit late today, but it is cooler out. So we had the few days of rain. Well, so today I'll be smoking Gurkha Havana blend, and this is a strong cigar. It's a dark wrapper, box press. Of course, I V-cut it. And yes, you can still V-cut box press cigars, and very, very nice smell. What strength? Well, so of course in the Dallas Fort Worth area we have two. Flip it over here. Just sparked it. That went flying down. Yeah, this is my quad torch pyramid Lotus lighter. I'll tell you, it's worth every buck. For a quad torch, it does have a pretty huge reservoir, so for a quad torch, that's a good thing. It doesn't really seem to run out very much. And the thing about because we have two Cigar International stores here in Dallas Fort Worth, and they did, I don't know if they stopped the employees, but they did allow the employees to smoke inside the humidor. Of course, it's a huge walk-in humidor. It's like looks like it's probably like a 40 by 50 size, and I don't know what they got to be using some sort of industrial humidifier. But I was wondering, it's like, I didn't say anything to them because it's like, well, no, they're smoking in here. That smoke has got to affect these cigars. And I talked to one guy and said, hey, it's like, I say, hey, it's got to be getting expensive, smoking those cigars every day. And the guy said, well, they allow us. I think he said they allow us 2 cigars a day, which for me would be more than enough to for me. This is a nice cigar. It's yeah, kind of there's a little bit of a bitterness, coffeeness to it. It's probably a mild to strong cigar, but yes, I was wondering. It's like, okay, these guys are smoking in here. It's of course smoke rises, but the smoke also sticks to things as it rises. And yeah, and of course it does have a it probably has some sort of I guess air circulation system in there. I didn't buy this particular stick from them, so I'm thinking, okay, it's but all the cigars I've purchased, they all smell okay. They don't smell like ashtrays, so it's not very. It's just me thinking like, okay, wouldn't this mess with the cigars? But again, like I said, all the cigars that I purchased, none of them has that ashtray smell, so I guess not. Yeah, and Gurkha is a pretty big brand. They are a big name brand that everybody knows about. It is one of the brands that I recommend for folks who wants to try cigars. Hey man, try Gurkha. they probably got like over 20 lines, or probably more of so so you got plenty of Gurkhas to try, and this one I wouldn't recommend for a first time cigar smoker. It is a nice cigar though. Its gauge is perfect. Lengthwise, it's a little bit bigger than what I like to smoke, but it's Saturday, I got time, I'll sit out here. So in the news, of course, the communists, not even going to call them liberals anymore. No, these folks are flat out communists. So the commies are take a few puffs here. Yeah, the draw is now pretty smooth. It's you can see the thick billowy smoke. So they're going back to 2018 when Trump visited France. And of course 2018 was the French election where Macron won again. Yeah, that Marie Pen, there's just too many liberals. They're just too entrenched in France for them to vote in a right-leaning. I wouldn't even call her conservative. Let's say she's right-leaning. And I was telling people, it's like, you know what, man, Macron's gonna win again. Not that I support Macron, I just knew he was going to win again because France is just full of libtards. So Trump was there. I think he's there for like the one of the summits, and I guess it was held in Paris. And I guess on this trip he was supposed to stop by a World War I. This is where they buried American soldiers who died in World War I at this grave that's about 40 miles outside of Paris. And 40 miles is about a good hour's drive. Depending on how fast you're going. If you're in a motorcade of like 20 cars, and I guess if you have a police escort in front, you might get there a little bit quicker. I don't know how well kept the French highway systems are, but from what I heard, people who live there, I got cousins there. Yeah, I know this guy's got cousins everywhere. Yeah, we kind of got scattered during the Vietnam War. So basically, yes, you don't want the commies. Well, the commies are in. But you don't want the commies winning because that's what happened to us in Southeast Asia. The commies came in, we fought the commies won, and of course, my family's scattered all over the place. Of course, some who couldn't make it out, they just chose to stay behind. And of course, I guess my uncle, I guess my mom's oldest brother was one of the leaders of the Nationals. So yes, I do consider myself a national here in the U.S. And I do see commies trying to take over the U.S. Just think about it, that leader in Wisconsin, the Antifa leader, calls himself Commander Red. I don't know if he's trying to emulate the Red Skull from Captain America. So Trump wanted to take, I guess, I forgot the name of the helicopter. I think I don't know. Is it called Hilo 1 or something like that? Which is that so no, it's not. Is it a Sikorsky or is it a Bell helicopter? So the weather was too bad, and the pilot's like, "Nah, we ain't flying." it was rainy, cold, so they weren't gonna fly. And now Trump wanted to go, at first when I heard this, I was like, Trump talking bad about dead veterans, I know veteran, especially a veteran cemetery. So what the heck, man? Let me look this up. So of course, looked up the news article. It's some I guess the Atlanta Tribune or Atlanta something. So it's basically a liberal news agency, I guess, in Atlanta wrote that Trump called those particular World War I veterans, that's buried in that cemetery, a bunch of losers. I was like, wait a minute, man, that doesn't sound like Trump. Here's a guy who supports the military, supports the veteran, has made positive changes to the VA, has made positive changes for veterans that come out of the military, which Obama has done nothing for. So I was like, okay. Yes, and of course, the liberals always talk about this is stolen land. This is stolen land, man, so shut your face. And of course, the Democrats don't do nothing for the Native Americans. And surprisingly, a lot of these of course, I'm getting off subject, I'll come back. And turns out a lot of these Native American reservations also happens to be in Democrat-ran districts. Yes, the Native reservations are their own country. They have their own government. They govern themselves. They have their own police force. Of course, because I was on a YouTube video, and of course, the video was talking about the riots and Black Lives Matter, and somehow it got to Native Americans. Some idiot, probably a leftist troll, noted, and also all of the Native Americans who were being shot by police. It's like, you realize the Native Americans are their own nation, they have their own government, they have their own police force, which is 100% Native Americans. Moron. Anyways, they have like a sheriff kind of a system. But yeah, they're all Native Americans, so it's Native Americans shooting Native American, if that's even the case. Yeah, I don't think any of them are even being shot at all, if any. Now, yes, the Native Americans do have their own knuckleheads, but the Native Americans in the U.S. are treated much, much, much better than any indigenous people in any other countries. All right, so back to France. So Trump wants to go. Couldn't take the helicopters. Hey, let's take the motorcade. It's 40 miles outside of France, so you're talking a good hour's drive. And like I say, it's rainy, it's cold. So Trump's people decided, hey, I think it was his I forgot. It's one of his folks that said, "Hey, Mr. President, let's not go because the weather's bad. We still got to go do this, got to go do that." Because remember, an hour's drive there, walk around, an hour's drive back. You're looking at probably 4 or 5 hours, out of the day. So it isn't like they're gonna drive there. Trump jumps out, goes, "Hey, okay, cool," jumps back in. Then they go back to Paris. Now we're talking a full afternoon gone. So this isn't just a trip there. He jumps out, jumps back in the car. Everybody goes back, for another hour's drive. You're looking at 4 or 5 hours easily. The press is going to be there. So I have no problem with Trump saying, hey, or Trump's people out telling him, hey, look, man, it's bad weather. It's rainy. It's cold. Let's skip it. We got all these other things we got to go do. We got to go tell the United Nations. We got to go tell NATO. We're out of the peace accord. We're out of the climate accord. And of course, I think at that time Trump was there to tell, the NATO countries, hey, you need to pitch in your share. Or you're not getting any money from the U.S. And I think that's a little bit more important. Telling off the United Nations, telling off NATO. Because he can always go back anytime, say, hey, let's jump in Air Force One, let's fly over there. Next time he's over in France, which, I don't know, maybe the next climate meeting, if Trump decides to go. Let me fix this here. So, yeah, and Trump didn't say anything specifically about those veterans. That's those World War I veterans that's buried in that cemetery in France. He didn't say anything negative about them. He's just, because of weather, he just didn't go. And you know what? I got nothing against that. Now, of course, they brought up, he did say that the Vietnam War was a useless war, and that all the men who went over there were suckers. And and of course, that quote was taken out of context too. When he says the Vietnam War was a useless war, I agree, it was a useless war. It was one that the U.S. If you were going to get into it, one, don't do that. Was it Bay of the false flagging to get the U.S. to invade Vietnam. And yes, a lot of American soldiers did lose their lives over there. And yes, my family were the people on the national side who were fighting against the commies. We had old French French guns from like World War II. I should record all these. A lot of my old uncles have passed away. My father's passed away. I got older cousins that I can maybe speak with. But a lot of them, when we get a family get together, they get to their war stories. My mom and grandmother saying that they can, when the B-52s were dropping the bombs on those, of course Vietnam was coming into Laos, so the B-52s they weren't supposed to drop bombs in Laos, but hey man, the Viet Congs were coming into Laos, and they were dropping those bombs on those on the supply trails, and I remember my mom and grandmother saying, yeah, you can hear and feel the vibrations from the bombs being dropped. It's like, wow, man, that's what you call living through a war. And now we got these idiot communists, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, who are trying to turn the U.S. into a communist country. It's like, you want to be like China? Like, you understand? And I'll go over the story again. When the Bolsheviks tried to take over Russia, and I'm pretty sure some of the Bolsheviks probably went over to China, whispered into Mao Zedong's ear, here's what you got to do, and of course a lot of them over here in the U.S. whispering in these liberals' ears, here's what you got to do. The 5 steps. Was it I think I ordered that book, the Yuri Bezmen's book, the see here, something. Damn it! So just look up his name. He did write a book back in the 1980s, where he outlined pretty much the steps that the communists were going to take to try to take over the U.S., make the U.S. communist. And I need to order his book and read it. I guess while I'm on, I'll go ahead and throw in, and Dinesh D'Souza's new book, United States of Socialism. So I ordered his book, and I guess as soon as his documentary comes out, I'll order the I don't know if it's a DVD. I don't even have a DVD or a Blu-ray player, so I need to order another one. My last one broke, and I pretty much threw it out the trash. And of course, I'm pretty sure that he'll have it on streaming, on some streaming service that's going to allow it. I don't know if Amazon's going to allow the streaming of that. Of course, they're part of the communist bloc. And yeah, and there's another movie that he I think either co-produce or co-direct. You can go to his YouTube channel, just type in Dinesh D'Souza. So basically, that movie, the trailers of it's based on a true story where a American he goes to Iran. So there's some sort of, I guess, Christian underground movement in Iran. So he goes to Iran, and he's arrested with for treason, I guess. Well, not treason, because he's not a citizen. He's arrested for being a spy, and so he's there trying to preach. They're saying he's there trying to preach Christianity, and I was like, well, he's a brave man, but a little foolish, trying to preach Christianity in Iran. You might be able to get away with it in China, or well, actually, Russia is the Orthodox Christians in Russia, but in Iran, no, Iran's not even communist. They are the next step, above communism, which is dictatorship. One Ayatollah dies, his son takes over. So I think the current Ayatollah is the son of the last Ayatollah. Kind of like in Cuba, Castro is dead, so Castro Jr., I don't know if he's Castro Jr., but his son is now the dictator of Cuba. And of course, he was a Harvard graduate. You think he would have gone to like Havana U or something, This band that Gurkha used for this cigar is freaking huge, man. It takes up like a third of the cigar. So now I got to try to take it off without the ash falling off, because no, never mind that the ash just fell off, so screw it. Let's come on, there we go. That is a big band for a cigar. Let me retouch it. Let me spit. Yes, people do spit when they smoke. A lot of the cigar shops, the lounges, do have spittoons. It's basically the old style copper. Looks like a big old copper pot with a small hole in the top and has like a funnel. And yes, if you feel like spitting, that's what you spit into. You spit into the spittoon. But normally if I inhale the smoke there. But normally if I'm smoking at the lounge, I'll have my water, I'll have my caffeinated drink, but I don't spit. Now for me, spitting clears out my mouth, but of course I have water. If you want to taste the cigar, you do want to keep your mouth moist, or have some saliva. So drink some water so you're not dehydrated, so you get some saliva to get the taste of the cigar. I guess cigar 101. Yeah, it's not a bad tasting cigar. It's not see, there's a little bit of bitterness in there, but not a whole lot. And it's I thought it was a strong cigar, but maybe after another inch or so, it might start he might start hitting on me. I was like, okay, maybe I'll smoke another half an inch and put this down, because it's, I'm beginning to see rainbows and stuff. Anyways, so I was talking about the the communists. Yeah, so basically the Bolshevik went to the peasants in Russia, the poor people in Russia, said, hey, you guys are the downtrodden. It's not your fault that you're downtrodden and poor. It's the bourgeoisie, it's the royalty's fault that you're downtrodden and poor. So please, go right, tear down the statues, and of course, in case of Russia, they killed the royal family, killed a lot of the bourgeoisie. So yeah, so the proletariats, the working man, went and killed the bourgeoisie, which is the royalty and the blue bloods, the royals. The same thing kind of happened in China. Mao told the peasants and the poor people in China, damn bug flipped my nose, man. Yeah. All right, so same thing. Hey, you guys are the downtrodden. It's not your fault. Once Big Brother takes over, everything will be equal. Everyone will get equal shares of in Russia will be equal shares of bread and cheese. In China, everyone will get equal shares of rice and pork. But that's not what happened. Yes, both. Of course, even in Russia now, they got oligarchy. Putin is pretty much president for life. His buddies are in position of power. Of course, you got China. It's oligarchy. You got Xi, who's pretty much president for life. His buddies are in position of power. And it's damn bug. Okay, I think it's out. Daddy or uncle is the chairman of this or chairman of that. Once he passes away, it goes to his son or goes to his grandson. If he has a daughter, or it will go to his nephew. Someone in the family. And just like our oligarchies here in the U.S., those guys are millionaires, billionaires. A lot of their kids are bringing that billion dollars over here to Canada and the U.S., down to Australia. Of course, it's blood money. And as I mentioned, yes, our oligarchy, other than the president, who is a temp worker, every other position is lifelong. Of course, as long as you can get such as Congress, and the House and the Senate, as long as you get reelected, you can pretty much stay in that position for life. I think mayorships in a lot of cities have a term limit, a three term limit, I believe, or some might have two. I forget. I gotta look into it. But yeah, but we're talking like the guys in the federal position. They, other than the president, other than the position, everybody is there for life. And those are the guys who are making, hundreds of million. Nancy Pelosi's worth 140 million or something like that. And of course, Biden, he's only worth about 15 million. Yeah, only. But his kids are worth, they're worth billions now with the Chinese deal. But his kids, his grandkids, his family members, are all worth millions, if not billions. So yeah, so the money is basically funneled through him, to them. So basically, once the useful idiots did the rioting, tearing down the statues, the killing of the royalty, both China and Russia. Once the communists got in, of course they're like, hey, what are we going to do with all these useful idiots? because once they get to starving, they're going to come after us. So yeah, it's like, okay, well, let's, in the case of Russia, they put them in the gulag. A lot of them were just pretty much killed. Same as in China, a lot of them were put in jail for, hey, you are anti, you talked about the government, you're going to jail. No, I support you, Mao. No, no. Of course, a lot of them were starved to death. As I mentioned in the other video, the Maoist communist government sent millions of Chinese from the big city out to the countryside, and pretty much told them to, hey, go make a living on the farm. Even though you don't know how to farm, go scratch a living out in the countryside. That's what we promise you, right? Your own land, you can make your own living. But it will be the same here in the U.S. You take some, somebody in New York and throw them out into the countryside. It's like, hey, here's a cottage. Here's 40 acres. Here's your mule. Good luck. But of course, in the case of China, they just threw people out. They just threw people out into the wilderness. They didn't even give them any land. It was like, gave them the boot. And yeah, and someone mentioned about police shooting. I was like, well, you know what, the Democrats, they're not really anti-police. They're not anti-police. They just want a police system that's close to what the KGB had. The KGB didn't shoot anybody. You just ended up missing. Same within China. The Chinese police aren't going to shoot you. You're just going to end up missing. It's they'll come in 3 a.m, kick in your door, drag you out. Neighbors, everybody's going to wake up as they see you getting thrown into a van, and that'll be the last time they'll see of Mr. Lee. Same in Russia. The KGB comes in, drags you out. That'll be the last time you see of Mr. I don't think of a Russian name. Mr. Kalashnikov. I don't know. And yes, there are AKs made in the U.S. You can even I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but people do it. Then you can even have your AR. If you don't, yeah, the cigar is getting to me. You can have it chambered in 7.62 if you want to, and it will shoot an AR round, not AR, but AK round. But if I was going to do that, I'd rather just get me a American-made AK, and which is not cheap. You're looking at $1,000 plus to like. Of course, the company that are making them, it'll cost you a lot more than an AR. And speaking of guns, of course, I got an email from one of the online retailers that I order my gun parts and stuff from. They're like, hey, we just got a shipping of a bunch of guns, and people on our mailing list will get first dibs. And that was in the morning. So I get home. It's like, I'll check when I get home. So I get home, I jump on, and about 90% of the guns are already gone. So looking through, it's like, what the hell, man? It's like only a few of the guns, even the high points, were sold out. Would I buy a high point? No, not when you got other choices like Glock, Beretta, Sig Sauer, Smith & Wesson, And the thing is you're looking at the price of high points. I never really looked. I decided to look. I said, okay, high points. I guess during this pandemic, everything price has gone up. But it looks like, well, okay, so high point isn't that much cheaper than a Glock. So spend the extra 100, 150. And go ahead and buy a Glock. But if you really like the way high points look, that's basically what it is. And of course, high points. Now, I guess the myth in the gun for the gun enthusiast, the myth is that high points just shoot. They're kind of like the AKs. They're kind of like the AKs of handguns, I guess. Like you can hit them with a hammer, throw them in a puddle of mud. The high point will shoot. Still not going to buy one. Glocks is just as good, looks better, and just as reliable. So, yeah, so I was surprised. Like, what the hell, man? There was one Glock. It was a Glock 17. So I was like, ooh, a Glock 17 still available. It's like, nah, that's okay. And of course, if you watch YouTube, and of course a lot of the gun channels do their guns you should buy during the pandemic, and a lot of them do recommend the Glock 17. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the handgun owners, I don't own a Glock 17, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys who are purchasing guns already own a Glock 17. They're like, well, I don't need a second one. But yes, in the case, they'll use China. I was like, yeah, in China, the cop, yeah, yes, and if you're wondering, yes, Chinese cops do carry guns. It is a revolver. Now, at least when I was there, that's what I've noticed. That's the first thing when I was out and about, and if I saw a police officer, I specifically looked for is if they had a gun on them. Yeah, they all had guns, and they were revolvers. I don't know if it was a Smith and Wesson, or a Ruger. If I was a Chinese policeman, I wouldn't trust a Chinese-made a revolver. It might be a high point. I don't know. I know in Japan, police officers carry guns there, but there's like a small 38 special revolver. I think there's a Smith and Wesson. The Smith & Wesson 38 Special is what the Japanese police officers carry, and not all of them carry it. I believe officers who are on patrol carry those 38 Special. Yeah, and there was I think about 3 or 4 weeks back. Speaking of Japan, there was a officer involved shooting. And the officer, they probably need some more training, but the officer did a Hollywood style warning shot. And of course, in the comment section, everybody's like, "Oh man, what is this, Hollywood? What are they training their police officers in Japan to do warning shots?" Yeah, it was like a Hollywood style. He shot in the ground near the perp. And of course, in Japan, and pretty much in all of Asia, guns are illegal for citizens. You can't have guns, and this includes Japan, for hunting purpose, and it's got to be a shotgun, and it's got to be Joe Biden's double barrel. And for sporting purposes, so you got to keep it at the gun club. Or I believe if you're like an old Ojiwan, you can. I get this Japanese word for old man. I'm probably mispronouncing it. Because there were stories years ago. I used to read, these gun related news that came out of Japan, and I would read all the time where a hunter. So basically, if you live in rural Japan, every now and then you'll have these wild boars that will come into town and tear people up. And the news will have, hunters went after the boar and shot it. So I was like, okay, so I guess you can have guns in Japan for hunting purposes. So I don't know if the hunters keep their guns at home, which I doubt. They probably keep it at like the hunting club or the shooting club. So more likely the old guy had to go to the club, get the key, take the shotgun out. And I would not hunt a boar with a double barrel, because if you miss with one shot, you only got one shot left, and you better make it count, because I heard the boars, these wild boars in Japan are just like the ones here in the U.S. They're tough SOBs. And if you miss with the second shot, well, it's your ass. I don't know if they were using double aughts or if they were using slugs. No, I don't know if they were using buckshots. Yeah, so I guess we'll close it on this. So I guess I didn't read up on the news. They're out protesting in the Bronx because the mayor, and I'm assuming they're protesting for the police. So there was a case of another case of another black man supposedly died in custody on the streets in police custody. We don't know until the autopsy comes out. They're saying that he was suffocated to death. They had what they had over his head is a mesh bag, so you cannot suffocate from the mesh bag. The guy was spitting at them, so if you decide to spit, yeah. And I guess a few weeks back also there's another case of a teenage boy that the police. This is also in New York. Police was questioning him. He decided to spit on them, so they stuck the mesh bag over his head. It's basically an anti-spit bag. I know you cannot suffocate. You cannot suffocate in that mesh bag. It's probably harder to breathe in these masks that they're forcing us to wear. So that's what it was. The guy was spitting at them, so they stuck the mesh bag over his head, and of course, while they were arresting the guy, they had to, of course, they put you, face first in the ground to handcuff you. So people in New York say, oh, they put that bag over his head and put him on the ground, and that caused him to suffocate to death. Well, it turns out the guy was high on drugs. He's running around the streets naked, high on drugs. Someone called the police, or it was his brother that called the police. So of course, police comes out. They should have said, "Nah, man, you take care of him." Or we're gonna send a drone out there. So anyways, the police goes out there, and the guy ends up dying while in their custody. And the police officer that did the arresting is the one that's been, well, he hasn't been fired yet. He hasn't been arrested yet, but he's been suspended from the force. And it says that people in the Bronx are out protesting after mayor. Of course, this was on Fox, so I don't know. I didn't even bother reading the article. I saw headlines like, I'll pass. So more than likely, they're probably out protesting for the dead perp, as opposed to the officer that's been suspended. But because I don't think people are going to be out protesting for police anytime soon. So the other case is in L.A. This 19-year-old riding a stolen bike, and so these two officers in their cruisers passing the guy up. They look at the bike, so there was something wrong with the bike. Yeah, if you live in a liberal city, liberal state, or in a liberal leaning country, they're going to tax you for everything, and that includes your bike. Uh, yes. So if you live in a blue state and you want to get a bike, well, number one, you gotta register the bike, you just pay tax on it. I don't know how much it is, and you gotta keep the bike with this and that on there to keep it under regulations. So there's something on the bike that was missing that caused the officer to check up on the young man. So he sees the cops coming, he drops the bike and just runs. And I don't have to tell you this. Police officers are like dogs. If you see a dog and you take off running, the dog's going to chase you. Same with police. You see the police, oh, there goes the siren. That's a fire truck, by the way. There's a. What's weird is when you get house insurance, one of the questions they'll ask you is how far away is the fire station. The closer the fire station is to your house, the lower the insurance is, which is kind of weird. But I was like, yeah, I got one it's probably about 2.5 miles from here. It's like, okay, that he said, okay, that'll lower it down a little bit. So okay, good. I did not know that. I was like, okay, well that's cool, man. Yeah, well, whatever I can get, lower on the insurance. So yeah, so he sees these two officers, and of course they're white. I think they're white. They might be Hispanic. I didn't look at the name. But being in LA, they might be Hispanic officers. So he takes off running. The police officer takes off after him. They catch the kid. Yeah, he's 19. I'm still gonna call him a kid or young man. He's struggling with them, and he has like some clothing items in his hand, which of course he took that and he took the gun, his illegally possessed gun, and he wrapped the shirt around the gun. We don't know what maybe he was planning to go do some robbery with it. Maybe he's planning to go sell it, but we don't know. So during the struggle, the shirt the shirt in his hand comes undone, unravel, and of course it shows the gun. And of course it's in his hand. So at this point, one of the officer opens fire, kills the young man. It's like, well, see a stolen bike, illegal possession of a firearm. He's 19. Well, he's in California, so he's in legal possession anyways. I don't even know what the age is in California for you to even get a permit for a handgun or for a rifle. But I heard it takes like a year. It takes like a year, lots of paperwork, lots of money to get your handgun or to get your rifle. So, and of course, they did a little protest. I don't think there's any rioting in LA. Mainly because the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter folks are busy in Kenosha, and they're busy in Minneapolis. They're busy in Atlanta, so I guess they ain't got time to or the chapter that is in LA has been told to stand down. Hey, stand down. We may need you guys to go. We may need you guys to go to Portland. We may need you guys to go to Seattle, or we may need you guys to go up to Kenosha, Wisconsin. So stand down for now and just wait. Yeah, because I was thinking, okay, well, here goes the riot in LA. So, all right. So the cigar, the ash is pretty. It's very, very white ash. It's not peppery at all. So this cigar was grown in some pretty, I guess, mineral-rich soil. Now it could be. Now you could kind of bypass the U.S. embargo The leaf could be grown in Havana, and then shipped to Nicaragua. I think this is where Gurkhas are made in Nicaragua. They might be made. Tons of us are actually made in Dominican Republic. Or you ship the leaves to the Dominican Republic, where the cigar gets wrapped or dried and made, and kind of bypass the embargo. For me, I don't really care. Keep the embargo on Cuba, but I'm still getting my cigar because I have a feeling a lot of the leaves are coming out of Cuba, going down to the Dominican Republic, where it gets dried, made into cigars, and hey, this is from the Dominican Republic, and then sent to the U.S. So yeah, so technically it's not from Cuba, and it's from the Dominican Republic. And supposedly the feds, I guess, arrested these two knuckleheads. They call them militia members, but I guess anyone can actually say they are a militia, part of a militia. So supposedly they arrested these two felons who had felonies, of course. So they shouldn't have been in possession of guns. And no, us conservative folks, us folks who consider ourselves nationals, we don't want no felons doing stupid things on our behalf. And so supposedly these two guys loaded up their car from Missouri, drove up to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where someone must have turned them in because the feds kicked in their hotel door. I guess they saw it was out-of-state plates. And it's like, okay, these guys are probably up to no good. Because one, who goes to vacation in Kenosha, Wisconsin, from Missouri? So I guess they saw the Missouri license plate, and it's like, hey, these guys are probably up to no good. They probably ran the plate, and came up. Of course, the owner's probably one of those guys who has a felony for his arrest. They're like, okay, let's get these guys. Yeah, so both of them has felonies. Yeah, the ash just dropped off, so I'm not puffing enough. Gotta be careful, man. These quad torch put a lot of heat and will catch your finger. And of course, people come out, oh, look at these right-wing militias. Okay, these guys aren't part of any militia. It's just two guys, two felons that they got nothing to lose because they're felons. Got some illegally obtained guns, threw it in their car, drove up to Kenosha, Wisconsin, to cause havoc. Luckily the feds caught them before they did cause any havoc. So yes, Democrats, yes, liberals, felons in possession of guns do need to be arrested. This goes for the Antifa and Black Lives Matters rioters. I'm pretty sure, I guess on that night when that Kyle kid was out there being assaulted and he had to defend himself, the 20 or so people out there who had handguns and long guns themselves were probably felons. Especially the guy that had his arm shot off was a felon in possession of a gun, and there wasn't no police looking for his arrest. I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, they probably didn't know the guy was a felon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they rounded up most of those folks carrying guns out there, I guarantee 9 out of 10 of those rioters probably had prior felons or felonies. I probably had arrest warrants out for their arrest, and I guess in this other news, the feds supposedly have somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 federal arrest warrants that they're going to try to serve for all of these all of these rioters and looters. Yes, there are cameras. It's because the rioting and looting in liberal cities, which has tons of cameras everywhere. Uh, that's part of being in the liberal cities. You're going to have, especially in downtown, there's going to be cameras everywhere. So they got face recognition software running. They got all of these cameras, and they got all these arrest warrants. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get any of these people. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to get the majority of these folks, of these Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioters, these paid agitators. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, it's really beginning to get some more caffeine. Yeah, I'm probably smoking about another inch of this before I put it down, because yeah, now it is beginning to really affect me. So hopefully they get the majority of these folks that they got the federal arrest warrant for. And of course, I guess I'll close it on this one. There was I think it was in South Carolina. I guess of course a white woman was shot by police officers. She was wielding a knife. Didn't make national news. You only saw that on I guess one of the crimes channel on YouTube. So like I said, a woman wielding a knife shot by a police officer. It looks, oh yeah, it's a white woman. So yeah, you're not gonna you're not gonna see this on any of the MSN. And if you look at the picture, I guess and of course in that Kenosha now it comes out that none of those 3 officers had their they didn't even have body cams on to even turn on. They didn't have any body cams, and in this day and this day and age, if your police department don't have enough money, I don't know, they'll ask for federal aid to get some body cams, because that was one of the things that a lot of people list for police reform, is to, hey, if these police departments don't have the money for body cams, get some federal aid. I don't know how much that I think Axion is the company that supplies the body cam, and I don't know how much Axion is charging for the body cams. But if they're charging an arm and a leg for the body cams, because you can technically take a GoPro, a GoPro. I think the GoPro 8 is out now, and I'm considering getting the GoPro 7 since 8 came out. The price of GoPro 7 was like going down, down, down. And the thing with GoPro, I don't think you want to buy one that's below 4, but 4, 5, 6, and 7 all all fit the same accessories. So if you got like a GoPro 5 and you buy a basic GoPro 7 with no accessories, the accessories from your GoPro 5 will work on the GoPro 7. And the thing about these GoPro, I guess the 4, 5, 6, and 7, is that the accessories for the Chinese knockoff actually works on those GoPro, because they're basically the same size. Not all of the accessories, but most of them will fit. But supposedly the GoPro 8 is a different size. All of the accessories are, of course, have to be different size. And so if you buy a GoPro 8, and if you want all of the accessories, you're probably looking at about $600, $700 along with the camera. Okay, I'll end it there. Hey, dog. Stay safe as usual. If you get sick, you're probably not going to die. They should just add, coronavirus to the flu list as flu number 21, because like I said, there's something like 20 flu viruses out there that the CDC every year when they make their flu vaccine, they try to guess which of I guess they can only fit three flu viruses into the vaccine. So they try to guess which 3 it's going to hit the it's going to hit the public, and yeah, some year they miss. Yeah, you should just go ahead and add coronavirus as flu virus number 21. Again, death rate of 0.03, 0.04. So if you get it, and if you're relatively healthy, especially if you're young, you're not going to die. If you got Gramps, who's like 80 years old, yeah, Gramps might pass away if he gets it. Yes, stay hydrated. And as I mentioned in the last video, N1H1 worldwide killed 68 million people. No economy collapse, no government shutdown. The world didn't come to an end or near end. So let's go ahead and reopen, get rid of the mask. If people get infected, it's just like a flu virus. You'll get over it. Take your take your vitamin C pill, your hydrochloroquine. Stay out of the riot zone unless it comes to your city. Don't drive to the riot zone. If it comes to your city and you're like, hey, I'm here to defend Mayberry, get out your gun. You want to go out there and defend Mayberry. So if hell comes to your town, just think of it as those old westerns, where you got the citizens, and then you got the bad guys. They're like, hey, they come into town, they shoot at the town, and they're like, hey, townspeople, give us, 100 gold bar. Yeah, and the same thing with the samurai movies that came out of Japan. Give us 100 gold bars. We'll give you a week, and if we don't get it, we're gonna come back in the town. We're gonna burn up the rest of your town. And the townspeople either, of course, in Western time, people were allowed to have guns, but if you're not a gunslinger, you're probably gonna lose against these bandits that's coming out of town. Same with the samurai movie. Of course, peasants weren't allowed to own katanas. The most they had was like their garden shears. The very, very, very sharp kitchen knives. Yeah, Japanese kitchen knives are top notch, I tell you. Well worth the money. Garden hose. The garden sickles, and yeah, you're not going to use that against a bandit, swinging a katana, and or I guess we'll call them yakuza. So you're not going to use that to go up against some yakuza thug swinging a katana. He's probably going to lop your head off. And so in these movies, what they do is they hire a swordsman. Or in the Western case, they hire a gunslinger. Now, of course, in modern times, these thug bandits that are coming into town, looting and burning up town, they're not like the Hollywood bandits who are dead eye shots. But you kind of see of course, unlike back then, you had the one sheriff. That of course, when they first come into town, they killed that sheriff. So like, hey man, the sheriff's dead. What are we going to do now? Same thing with the samurai movies. They come into town and they kill the village headman, or they chop off his arm. So I like, okay, the headman's dead, or in the Western case, the sheriff's dead. What are we going to do? And if you compare it to modern time, it's almost like that. You have these Antifa, Black Lives Matter bandits. So I'm going to call them bandits. Rolling in the town, they're looting and burning everything, and the police are being told to stand down. So basically, the sheriff is technically dead at that point because he's being told to stand down. So he might as well be dead. And the townspeople, yes, in the U.S. we do. I guess in blue cities. in blue states, it's very hard to get guns. So yeah, and someone and someone mentioned, hey, and all these adults, you get the 17-year-old kid that goes out there and tries to defend the town of Kenosha. We're all the adults. It's like, if you understand that a lot of this is happening in blue cities, where it's, one, very hard to get guns. It takes like a year if you want to get a gun, and all these paperwork in order to get a gun. So a lot of the folks in these blue cities don't have guns to defend themselves. So it is kind of like the westerns. It is kind of like the samurai movie, where the civilians of the village or of the city don't have any guns to defend themselves. So could you hire private security? It's very expensive. It's just like in the movie. It's like, well, the bandits want 20. The bandits wants 100 gold pieces. I'll charge you 20 gold pieces. To defend your town. Kind of thing. So yeah, so I guess in modern terms, yeah, you could hire private security, but it's not going to be like in the Western, where the private security could specifically go after these Black Lives Matter and Antifa bandits that are rolling in the town, and shooting up, looting, and burning things up. They have to. Security guy has to specifically defend a specific store or a strip of stores, or in some cases, in a lot of cities, you cannot defend property. So in a lot of these videos, you see the store owners, out in front of the stores, they got guns, but they're just there for intimidation, but they really can't defend their store. Again, these are in Democrat-run cities. And the cigar went out, so I'll probably put it down, relight it, probably give it 5-10 minutes to kind of recoup, and then relight the cigar. So yeah, I kind of sat and thought about that, because I was watching another samurai movie. Definitely check out Sotashi, the Blind Samurai. He does it for free. And of course, in some of the movie, and there's like, I think 3 seasons or 4 seasons of Satoichi. He comes rolling in the town. You got the Yakuza thugs that are in town that's just terrorizing the town, and he kills them all. But and of course, Satoichi himself is a Yakuza. He is a bandit thug himself. and yes, and he has bounties on his head from the Yakuza, and from the government. But yeah, that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. We got these communists, Antifa and Black Lives Matter bandits, these communist bandits that are rolling in the town, shooting up, looting, and burning everything. The sheriff is alive, but he's technically dead because he's being told to stand down. People have no guns to defend themselves, and you're screwed. Okay, well, that's it. And again, stay safe, don't get sick, don't go into these riot zones, and have a good one.